Proverbs 6:16, quote, "There are 6 things the Lord hates, 7 that are detestable to him: haughty eyes, a lying tongue, hands that shed innocent blood, a heart that devises wicked schemes, feet that are quick to rush into evil, a false witness who pours out lies, and a person who stirs up discord in the community." Why I quoted that Bible passage was because of our last video, entitled A Strategy of Tensions, about how governments rule by divide and conquer techniques. I cited how when the Occupy Wall Street movement erupted after the 2008 financial collapse, and the people were unifying around their discontent of the oligarchs, a cunning propaganda campaign was deployed to change the subject from a class struggle to a racial struggle. No sooner than Occupy Wall Street gained traction in 2011 than the wealthy leveraged their control of the media to start flooding the airwaves with new terms such as critical race theory, unconscious bias, white privilege, and so forth. This was done in a bid to get us to fight each other rather than turning on them. Understand what the media's purpose is and what it's used to do. Mass communication has been weaponized, and it almost always works as a smokescreen, a distraction mechanism for the powerful. As Julius Caesar said, divide and conquer. This tried and true mechanism is not new. It's just been refined. And Americans, even in the past, were not immune to it. Way back at the beginning of the Republic, many leading people in the Federalist Party subscribed to these cynical techniques. Remember the Federalist Party? You know what happened to them? They were discredited after the War of 1812, when as the British were burning down the White House, they were siding with the British. Federalists in the Senate refused to release funds to finance the American Navy because they felt that alienating England would hurt their bottom line, even as England was attacking us. After the war, the people were so disgusted that the Federalists were driven from town on a rail, forever discredited, never to return. One of the Federalists, James Madison, an otherwise commendable man, revealed that he had a less respectable side when he suggested that America use a divide and conquer tactic to control its population. According to Charles Beard, in an economic interpretation of the Constitution of the United States, 1913, Madison was afraid of the landless proletarians taking over. He talked about how the whole purpose of government was to prevent them from becoming a majority. To do so, it would break them up. How would this be done? In the 10th Federalist paper, Madison says that the very size of the Union will make such a thing possible. Quote, "The smaller the society, the fewer probably will be the distinct parties and interests composing it. The fewer the distinct parties and interests, the more frequently will a majority be found of the same party. Extend the sphere, and you take in a greater variety of parties and interests. You make it less probable that a majority of the whole will have a common motive to invade the rights of other citizens. Or if such a common motive exists, it will be more difficult for all who feel it to discover their strength and to act in unison with each other." So if Madison were alive today, he'd be quite all right with intelligence agencies using their strategy of tensions techniques to sow discord among the people. And speaking of that, sowing discord, let's consider what intelligence agencies are in the context of that biblical quote at the opening of this presentation. Let's repeat. There are 6 things the Lord hates, 7 that are detestable to him: haughty eyes, a lying tongue, hands that shed innocent blood, a heart that devises wicked schemes, feet that are quick to rush into evil, a false witness who pours out lies, and a person who stirs up discord in the community. When seen in this light, are intelligence agencies something that we really want in our republic? Do they align with our values? Look at how the media has become nothing more than a tool of the intelligence agencies, with 24-hour news networks openly hiring them as so-called analysts. Look at ex-CIA chief John Brennan working as a contributor for CNN and MSNBC, or CIA agent Phil Mudd on CNN, or Director of National Intelligence James Clapper, or CIA Director Michael Hayden. The Scoop has an article entitled, "The CIA Used to Infiltrate the Media. Now the CIA is the media." Back in the good old days, when things were more innocent and simple, the psychopathic Central Intelligence Agency had to covertly infiltrate the news media to manipulate the information Americans were consuming about their nation and the world. Nowadays, there is no meaningful separation between the news media and the CIA at all. Why this is dangerous is because the CIA's job is to sow discord among the American populace so that the ruling oligarchy can feel safer in power. One of their chief strategies is to neutralize a potential threat by fragmenting it. When the John Birch Society became America's first grassroots conservative movement, intelligence agencies rushed to break up the burgeoning rise of the people by creating a fake parallel conservative movement run by William F. Buckley. Buckley went to famous CIA recruiting ground Yale and was a member there of its elite Skull and Bones Society. Today, we call the synthetic movement he founded Conservative Inc. Look at any directory of so-called conservative organizations today, and there are thousands of them, most funded by intelligence agencies in one form or another to shatter a unified movement, thus rendering it impotent. Look at the so-called alt-right movement led by Richard Spencer. This movement was created by England's intelligence agency MI6 through a cutout called Jellyfish. Jellyfish is a spin-off of Blackwater's old intelligence division after it rebranded as XE. And now look at how Richard Spencer is being invited onto CNN to discredit the conservative movement. He's also brought onto CNN to throw a hand grenade, so to speak, into its audience and to cause anger and fragmentation. It's the same reason why Fox News is bringing on their own controversial contributor to confuse and enrage their audience. This is designed to alienate conservatives and further demoralize and fragment them. I leave you here with an interesting video on the power of unity.
You guys remember the Care Bears show? Let me explain to you just how real this show is. Remember the Care Bears had powers that would come from their heart, that light would emit from their heart? The human heart does exactly the same thing. Our heart emits light particles or photons at an average of 20 photons per second. But if we use our intention and our emotion, we can increase that rate to up to 100,000 photons per second of light particles emitting from our hearts. And remember the Care Bear stare where they would all stand together and unite their heart powers in order to defeat the evil and dark forces? That's real too. It's called the super radiance effect. It's been studied. When people come together with a specific intention of peace or love, it has been shown to reduce crime, terrorism, and warfare by an average of over 70%. One of those facts that is hidden in plain sight.
If you want to fight back against the powers that seek to keep us divided and conquered, then go to jbs.org and find a local John Birch Society chapter near you. Get together with your neighbors. Things might start getting crazy in the upcoming months, so start making a community of like-minded people who have your back. jbs.org.